Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough to be doing it too, I'm Bushka on Blitz, and boys and girls, I'm so happy to be doing it here with you, to you, and beside you today, as we take a look at the upcoming patch 4.3 crew skills breakdown. Now, up until now, you could train your crew skills to level 6, and that was all well and good. You're going to be able to train them to level 7. Now, today, I'm going to have a look at, firstly, exactly what's changing. Secondly, I'm going to have a look at how that affects you and why it's a good thing, I think, and some hidden stuff that you probably don't know about. And thirdly, I'm going to break down for you my most important skills for each tank type and grade them from musket all the way through to I may as well spend my elite experience on something, so I'll get this one because it's the last one there. Now, before we go any further, this is what it looks like at present. Now, I'm showing you this as a base point, a point of reference, some context for you. Indeed, it will give you the idea of what's there, why it's important, and what's changing. Now, you can see there on the left-hand side of the screen, it's broken into lights, mediums, heavies, and TDs. If you've got excess crew experience in those tanks, it goes into the left-hand side of the screen under those tanks, but it's not really much use for you because you've already maxed everything out in there. And that's really lame because if you look at the top there, at the red arrow, you can see I don't have my light tank crew skills maxed, yet I have 7.27 million excess XP in my medium tank crew skills. Wouldn't it be great if I could take that elite experience and put it into my light tank crew skills? Well, in patch 4.3, that's exactly what you're going to be able to do. Now, if you don't have masses of elite experience, which I'll break down for you what that is in a second, and you're just newish to the game and you want to spend gold or credits to do this, you can as well. So watch on because I'll show you what's going on with this and where there is a little bit of a hidden catch here. So really important stuff. So keep watching. Now, up until patch 4.3, if you wanted to get crew experience to use on, say, a crew skill like soft recoil, you would highlight the crew skill, the light tank crew skill I want to extend, and you would click the accelerate training, and you would be able to change free experience for crew experience at the rate of 2 points of crew experience for every 1 point of free experience. But people didn't really do that because it was incredibly inefficient. To get free XP is really, really hard. You only get a very, very small amount of free XP. I think it's 5%. I should probably know that, on every battle. Or you can use gold, which is expensive to get free XP when you can use gold to buy tanks and do other cool stuff. So people didn't really do that. That's changing now. And I want to show you this particular window in patch 4.3 to illustrate exactly what is going on. Now, this is the same accelerate training window that we saw with the soft recoil, but in the new UI. On the left, in the square you can see there, the white square, is our current elite experience available. Now, you get elite experience when you have elited a vehicle. That means you have trained all the modules on the vehicle. There is nothing left to spend experience on in that vehicle. You've got the engine, you've got the tracks, you've got the guns, you've got the turrets, everything. It becomes an elite vehicle. You can tell that because if you have a look at the bottom of the UI, you'll see that there is a laurel wreath or a wreath or parentheses that look like a reef around the tank's icon. In this case, the KV3, it is a heavy tank, so you get the 3 bars in a diamond, and around either side of it, it has a laurel. That means it has been completely upgraded to the top of its tree, and it is now earning elite experience. And that elite experience can be used to up your crew skills. Now, you can also go a step further with that. You can take that 6,356 experience and you can spend credits so that it becomes 2 to 1. So instead of 6,356, it becomes 12,712. Now, to do that, you use credits, and you're going to see down the bottom right-hand corner there, if you select the credit option, you can turn that into double. So it's 2 to 1, but it costs you 63,000 credits. This is not a must do. This is something you can do though, if you want to grind credits in a premium tank and then use them to up the crew skills, you can. Hey, it's better than it was before. That's all I'm saying, because you can still use gold, but you don't have to. Now, if we use gold, things get a little bit wacky. You can actually get 3 to 1 on gold, and it costs, say, for 6,230 it's going to cost you 63 gold. It's like basically a function of 10. So it turns it into 18,689 credits, which if you want to spend the money makes it easier to actually do. And it's a lot better than it used to be with free experience. But the positive for people who have a whole heap of crew skill experience or experience saved up, like me, is that you can now use that to up skills that previously you couldn't touch. Let me show you why this makes people who've been playing the game for a while a happy camper. This is my account, my standard account. I've spent money on the gold to get a massive long amount of premium time. I've got a lot of gold left over. But also on this account, I have a huge amount of elite experience. I've been playing for an incredible amount of time on this account. So I've got all this elite experience that's sitting there and I can't do anything with it. In fact, I have 23.5 million elite experience from playing tanks that I've already got that are fully maxed out in terms of buying equipment and everything else on them. And every time I play them, the experience just goes into a big pot of nothing and I can't use it. And it's not really ideal to convert that to free experience so that I can use it for crew skills, because it would take like, to get that 23.5 million out would cost me 940,000 gold, which isn't going to happen. So now, without touching it, I'm going to be able to use that experience to up my light tank crew skills, which we looked at earlier, and actually get them maxed out. I'm going to be able to use the stuff that was just sitting there doing nothing. You can see all that elite experience is sitting there doing absolutely nothing. I'm going to be able to use that now for my light tank crew skills, which is awesome. And it's going to be the same for all the elite experience that you guys have, which is currently sitting there earning no interest and helping nobody, which I think is a big step forward and is a positive for the game. So that's the basics of it. Now, a couple of key points here. You can use experience from any tank, like for instance, a tank destroyer. You can use that to train a medium tank, as long as it's elite experience. Once you've maxed the crew out and everything, it goes into the elite experience pot, and then you can use it on any skill. You can no longer use free experience. So you can't use free experience anymore to actually train up a skill. That's important, because if you've been saving crew experience, free experience to train a skill, like, you'd want to use it now. But I don't know why you would, because it's so much more useful to use free experience to upgrade past tanks that you don't really like, or which, upgrade to modules that are at the top of the tree rather than playing a tank stock. Something else that's really important, when you've acquired elite status on your tank, you've researched all the modules, and you can start earning crew skills in excess of 100%. That XP goes towards your crew skill, the perk that you're trying to get to. I call them perks. You can see that's the light tank breakthrough skill. It's at tier 6 at the moment, and we're grinding through that. It will display next to the battle button there and show you where you are in terms of that grind. And when you master all the crew skills for light tanks and you've got no more to master, you will get this icon displayed at the top of the screen. It's like a book with a big tick in it saying, you've got them all, you've done the lot. You can see that we now have all the light tank crew skills. Good for us. So that's about it for 4.3 and the changes. Now let's break down what I think are the most important crew skills bit by bit. Now I'm going to show you from light tanks through to TDs the most important in order of my preference. Firstly, in lights, you have soft recoil, decreased dispersion after firing by 7%. Excellent. You have breakthrough, increased vehicle acceleration by 7% if there are at least 2 enemies within a 50-meter radius from you. Amazing if you are into your CODing and everything. And there are a lot of things here that have a synergy. So I'm going to show you them, and then I'm going to give you an overview at the end here too on the most important ones, I think, just overall. Hasty shot, least important of the light ones. One of the last ones you'll get ever. 7% chance to make a more accurate shot. Trained in medium tanks, number 1, and this is very, very cool because this goes basically from right to left again. Smooth turret traverse, decreases gun dispersion by 14% during turret traverse. So when you're turning the turret, your aim reticle is 14% better off. It's very, very tough to beat that. Smooth ride, decreases gun dispersion by 7% when on the move. again, if you're rolling on the move, smooth ride and soft recoil and breakthrough, there are huge synergies between those. And if you're moving a turret, when you're doing it, another synergy. And then next is Mentor. That will increase the crew experience earned in battle by 7% for all tanks. If you're doing medium tanks, get that third. And that will help with all other. And remember, all these skills work on all tanks, not just the tanks that they're listed for. So if you get a skill in medium tank to 7, like Smooth Ride and Smooth Turret Traverse, that then works for all of them. Then penetration boost, 7% chance to score a hit with increased armor penetration. It's pretty freaking cool, but it's 7 out of 100 attempts, so it's not like it's a guarantee. Rage, really, 7% faster gun after killing a tank. Like, it'll help. These are helpful things. They will help, and you get them at the end, but they're not the ones that you struggle and strive for, and they're not the ones that I'd be spending elite experience on. In heavies, we go to repairs. My number one actually is Close Combat Master in heavies. That's because it's not exactly amazing for heavy tanks, but it increases the traverse of your turret by 7% when there's an enemy within 30 meters of your vehicle. And this works with all the others, because if you're being COD'd and you're in a heavy tank, or you're in a TD that's got a turret, or you're in a medium tank and you've got to track that vehicle as it goes past, well, that gives you a much better chance of doing it. 7% increase in that is better. Then after that, I believe repairs, which is just brilliant, 28% to modules. And these are all the tier 7 skills, right? This is where it's going to go to. 28% faster repairs of all modules. Like, that's really, really valuable in the battlefield. Then 3 firefighting, put out a fire 42% faster. So if you can't put a fire out, you're going to cop nearly 50% less damage from that fire, which is big. Like, these are big things that add up over time to a more meaningful combat tanking experience. And then robustness, which you can see there, which is, again, all the heavy tank skills are really meat and potatoes, but really valuable. And to be honest, 2 through 4, robustness, firefighting, and repairs are all incredibly effective. And you could basically go for whichever one of those you liked the best, which you would find more useful on your grinds, I'd suggest. Reduces effectiveness loss of non-critically damaged modules by 35%. So, you know, your ammo rack's damage, well, it affects the 35% less, or your engine's damage, or your driver's damage. You get 35% less of a loss on those modules. So it's really, really important. Not your driver, sorry, he's not a module. Then we move onwards to tank destroyers. Number one, without a doubt for me, is camo. 21% more camouflage for your tank. Increase the concealment, 21%. That just doesn't get any better. That's it. Get that. Number one. Get it. Get it as one of your first skills. 2 for me is clutch braking. Increase your vehicle traverse by 7%. Like, why wouldn't you get clutch braking? That's pretty much number one must-have skill. And then smooth turn. Again, decreased gun dispersion of a turning vehicle by 7%. That's number 3. Then number 4 is deadly accuracy. When everyone else dies, you get 7% more aim speed and view range. Very, very handy at the end of a fight when you're 1-on-1 or you're 1-on-3. And finally, sniper. Give a 7% chance to make a shot that is guaranteed to cause damage to modules on enemy vehicle. It's not great, but, you know, hooray. Like, it might be the ammo rack that you hit or something. It's going to be less important than some of the others, and it's going to be more of one of those shots like, say, Rage, where it's going to be very, very effective for you once in a blue moon, but when it works really, really well. Or hasty shot, you know. It's not going to be very effective, and you won't know when it goes off all the time because you won't be paying much attention, but yeah, there you go. So before I go any further, I'm going to show you now at the very, very end my most important crew skills, the ones that I think you can pick and choose from each kind of line and that you should take on board, and not really the order you should go for them in, apart from one in particular, which I think is a must-have. If you would consider becoming a sponsor of the channel, that'd be great. There's a Patreon link. There are videos. There are podcasts every week. Always happening. The Patreon stuff is pretty cool, and there's a really good community. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Let's enjoy the rest of the show. Now, I want to have a talk to you about the ones that I think are really, really important. And this isn't just rating them 1 through 10. There's the first one I would get regardless is going to be the camouflage skill. But after that, I'm going to just point out the ones that I think are really, really important. And these are the ones that I would get before I picked up all the other bits and pieces. Now, you might not agree with this, but for me, these are very, very good across like all tanks. Like, you're going to get a lot of value out of them, unless like if you're just playing turreted TDs, then maybe it won't be so important for you. But if you're playing heavies, mediums, lights, there's a huge synergy between all these skills. So let's get kicking off with that. So we've got camo, which is really my number one must-have, because the camo is massive. If you can get to 21% camo, and that's it there. I'm going to use a little Bushka icon to highlight that. If you can get to 21% camo, then happy freaking days, because that's going to make your tank so much harder to spot, and it means that you're going to be able to do damage without being hit, and you're not going to get spotted, so you're going to get hit less. These are all important things. Clutch braking increases raw traverse by 6%. Like, if you can get 6% more traverse, it's going to allow you to angle your armor more effectively, not get done by people who are circle of deathing you when it's down to that tiny little margin of error. Really, really important skill. Now, they're both in tank destroyers. Moving right along, we have a look at the top of the tree there. We move up to the light tank section. Soft recoil. When you fire the gun, the dispersion decreases by 5%, 6%. So, like, there's less of a negative on the bloom after you fire the gun, which is all tanks get a benefit from this, not just light tanks. So that's massive. And I'm not saying the other skills aren't valuable. I'm just saying these are the skills that for me I would go after first. So I'd grind a couple in TDs, and then I'd grind out the light tank, like the recoil skill. And then I'll probably move right along to the medium tank area to smooth ride. Now, that is decrease gun dispersion by 6% when firing on the move. So you're going to start to see the synergy here between these. So you've got soft recoil. So you're driving along and you're going to fire your gun on the move. You fire a shot, 6% less dispersion and 6% better accuracy when you're actually moving as well. So you're doubling up, and then you get smooth turret traverse, and you're turning your turret while you're driving. And that's another medium tank skill. Decrease gun dispersion by 12% during turret traverse. So your circle of deathing another tank, you're turning it. You fired one shot. The next shot is 6% more accurate. You are 6% less likely to miss. Well, no, those numbers aren't right. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. And there's a synergy there. And then you get decreased gun dispersion. And this is smooth turn. This is another TD skill of turning vehicle by 6%. So there's a huge synergy between those last four skills. 6% less dispersion while turning the vehicle, 12% less dispersion during turret traverse, 6% less dispersion when firing while moving, and 6% less dispersion after firing the gun. Now, these are obviously the maxed out crews. And there are other things in there that are really important, like the repair skill, which I pointed out there in the heavy line, because that's just such a lifesaver. If it takes you less time to repair a track, you can move, and you might not eat the next shot on someone that's trying to perma-track you, or, you know, your ammo rack gets repaired quicker. It's all these things are really, really important, and without them, you can lose battles, and that's where it's at. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you take that with a grain of salt. Everyone's allowed to have a different opinion, but those are the ones that I really think are my key components. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.